All this information are theories supported by in-game and real-life evidence. The gameplay and script is provided by myself. I may have wrong information, so leaving a comment telling me what is incorrect will be advised. Hate comments are not appreciated, but constructive criticism is. These theories contained within the video are my own with my own developed research. Watching the video till the end helps the channel grow so more videos can be produced. With that out of the way, get comfy and enjoy the video.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. This one is kinda not a video game theory, but it's a tutorial plus all the information. Spanish moss is a native plant that grows in the southeast part of the US, down by Florida, Georgia, and whatnot. Anyway, the Spanish moss is healthy when it displays this gray-like dead color, making it perfect for the pale garden in Minecraft. Now granted, this species in Minecraft is called hanging moss, but let's be real, it's probably the same thing. The moss hangs from trees and droops down close to the ground. It's important to know that Spanish moss is not invasive and does not harm the tree. They are habitats to small crawly creatures and their offspring. Hidden within the curls are many types of mites, certain jumping spiders, and in big clumps, birds and bats. You'll probably be able to spot them though. Anyway, be careful. I'll get to cleaning them later, but now the plant itself is more important. The Spanish moss is a non-parasitic epiphyte, which means it grows while using other plants, but does not take nutrients from them. Scientifically known as the Tilandrias usneoides, but also related to the name grandfather's whiskers. Wow, I can't even tell the difference. Apparently a flowering plant and an herb, plus being related to the pineapple tree. The Spanish moss is often mistaken for large amounts of ball moss. An air plant, which means it doesn't need soil and uses humidity for water, plus local rain in the area. To add a final part to this information, they have pods which drop seeds waiting to be transported. Once they land in a tree or brought there by an animal, for example, a bird bringing a pod to their nest, the Spanish moss begins to grow from an vantage point high in a tree before growth. In other words, the seeds are taken into the tree by a natural force and grow near the top of the tree to the bottom. For any more information, I recommend floordata.com/plant/571 on Spanish moss. My vacation area has a lot of this moss, can be found on golf courses, on the ground, and in trees. Not to get anyone with a bug phobia worked up, but there can be hundreds to 1,000 mites, bugs, beetles, spiders, and worst of all, in my opinion, insect eggs. Gross! Now, to get a clean plant, there are a few techniques, like boiling, which causes the moss to stink for a while, dunking in water, freezing, heating, and or microwaving. All these processes kill any bugs still on the plant. I recommend wearing gloves and putting the moss in a plastic bag to microwave and freeze. Next on our journey to learn about the Spanish moss is cleaning it, from bugs to be more exact. First, put on your gloves. Next, grab a sealed bag where you'll put the Spanish moss in. And now find a big old clump of Spanish moss. Okay, not that big. You should get a smaller sample. Once you bring the bag home, place it in a double bag so no small bugs can escape. Enjoy the time lapse. Then place it in the freezer. Please like the video if you found this interesting. Finally, stuff the moss wherever you can fit it. The next step is called patience. Yes, you will have to wait. I patiently waited 2 days and over 4 hours. I made my way to the freezer where my Spanish moss should still be. And yep, there I find it. Now you're going to want to take it out after you've waited a certain amount of time. The next step, if you have permission, you put it in the microwave. And yes, you did hear me right, the microwave. Now good for us, Ziploc bags do not melt. Well, they can. But to kill the Spanish moss bugs, you set it for 10 seconds on reheat or defrost. Anything higher will not be good for the plant nor your microwave. Once you're ready, just place the plastic bags with the Spanish moss inside the microwave, then shut it. And make sure to monitor your Spanish moss for that 10-second period. Next, we finish it off with a nice rinse. This is one of the other steps used to clean the Spanish moss. Make sure you're in an outside area, like a garage, so no bugs still alive could escape. That's more like it. The moment we've all been waiting for, opening the bag. If you didn't wait too long, the Spanish moss should have still a green color, but yet some brown. Grab the clump with your gloves and then start rinsing it. Make sure the strength of the water is not too crazy because you don't want to hurt the moss. Rinse it around in your hands for a few minutes to make sure all the bugs are out. Plus making sure the sink is plugged so no big clumps fall out and clog your drain. I figured this would also be a good perspective of me washing it, but let me know what you think. This step is not required, but any antibacterial soap can also be put into the Spanish moss, giving you the opportunity to rinse it even more to get all the soap out. After a few minutes, turn off the water and dry your Spanish moss with some paper towels. It finally starts to look good and like a plant. Now there can be lots of bugs and small curls left behind. Rinse your sink and make sure everything goes down the drain well. Finally, back from real life Draven to online Draven. Enough of that. You can place the Spanish moss on a paper towel, then let it dry out. Well, not out, but let it dry. Once you leave it to dry overnight, I'll gather it to describe in the morning. Feel your moss to make sure it is dry and not wet one so bit. I mean, it can be, there's no problem with that. Ta-da! My viewing platform I picked was a paper plate, but you can use anything, even the old paper towel. From a look, each curl has this kind of barbed look, except it's not really that prominent. It feels like a nice packaged bedding of some sort. It's pretty light
feel like a cushion
and
padding.
is kind of nice to touch. Smell-wise, it actually smells like an herbal tea, which is kind of weird, but it does make sense because it is an herb. The smell actually threw me off. I was really confused, but it smells pretty good, even after using the soap, and microwaving, and freezing. Before actually planting, you should find a humid environment which has access to sunlight. Like I've stated previously, the moss is an air plant, so the species only needs a natural recreation of a tree, which allows them to suspend downward. For me, I just grab the stick and put it in some rocks to hold it up. Now, in a home, you will need to water your moss. Spritz the leaves daily to keep them healthy. Or, every once in a while, soak the Spanish moss curls in the rainwater. But tap should do fine. If the space around the Spanish moss is damp enough, no watering will be needed. Another good fact is you will not harm the plant by trimming offshoots. And in the right environmental conditions, the Spanish moss will grow 4 to 8 inches in a year, or 10 to 20 centimeters. Any pieces you've chopped clean may also be placed on an elevated structure. Think of a spider monkey plant and how their babies are harvested and grown into new adults. That sounded so wrong. What I meant to say was their offshoots. Want to save all the work? The easier method, you can buy Spanish moss online. But that takes all the pride and appreciation out of the whole process. Though it can be pretty expensive, even though it's many pounds. If anyone found this useful, please leave a like. This should be my last vacation video, but we'll see. Maybe I got something else up my sleeve. Or my lab coat. Anyway, I know this was kind of a tutorial, but I've been waiting to do this video for a long time. Plus, I hope you enjoyed the video. The thumbnail and script was provided by myself, Draven, and I researched this topic myself. Any new video ideas, please leave them down in the comments below. I will happily go over them in a new video. Till the next scientific breakthrough, see you next time.